Gary Black just called out Stephen Mark Ryan, I think, but I'm pretty sure about it. I think context is really important, so I'll go through that first and then we'll dive right into it. Gary Black yesterday was under attack from Tesla bulls and Tesla bears. Tesla bulls said, well, you're always complaining about Tesla's stock. Now, I don't really think that Gary Black is complaining all that much. I think he's just pointing out some of the facts, and then, of course, he does throw in his opinion, which is fine. The way I see it is, it's valuable information that we get, because his opinion is usually similar to those of institutional investors, and I think having that perspective is important because it just shows us how many things they are missing about Tesla. If all of a sudden, all of the institutional Tesla stock investors figured out everything about Tesla, then there wouldn't be as much upside to owning Tesla stock. So that is why I follow Gary Black actually pretty closely, because he's one of the biggest institutional Tesla stock bulls. But Tesla bears are also attacking Gary. Tesla bears are asking, why does Gary still own Tesla stock if he keeps cutting his estimates? Number one, he says, there are clearly cost reductions to accrue that I haven't built into my forecasts. That doesn't sound like a reason to own Tesla's stock, but I guess he's just admitting his mistake here. Number two, EV adoption continues to accelerate. Oh yeah. Basically, you don't need to do anything. Tesla does not really need to innovate much. Tesla just needs to have different models, and automatically by default, Tesla sales will grow because people are just buying more EVs. Number three, Tesla's $25,000 vehicle is a game changer. I totally agree with that, and will come sooner than investors expect. I'm not sure about that. I hope so, but I'm not really sure about that. But it is definitely clear to me that that vehicle is going to be a complete game changer. I mean, the Nissan Leaf came out in 2010. The Model 3 came out 7 years after that. And last year, the Model 3 sold about as many units as Nissan Leaf sold in the last decade. So I think Tesla can do the same thing again. Number four, at some point, Tesla's management will realize that cutting price gets them zero incremental volume as competitors smash the cuts, and will reverse course on pricing. I think by that, he doesn't just mean, oh, we are going to increase the price. If Tesla just does that without doing anything else, then I don't think sales will stay flat. I think sales would then probably drop significantly if the price increases were big. But I think what Gary is trying to say is that Tesla will start to advertise very seriously, and Tesla is going to be good at it. Gary also responded to this comment: the difference is when competition matches price cuts, they will go out of business, as we have seen in 2023. Most legacy auto are moving away from EVs. That itself is worth future market dominance as competition falls further behind than they already are. But Gary completely disagrees with that take. No legacy automakers are going out of business except some unprofitable EV makers. That is a pipe dream fabricated by Tesla stock bulls who have no sense of reality. Did Gary Black just call out Stephen Mark Ryan? I think so. He didn't call him out by name, but I think this is largely pointed at Stephen Mark Ryan. Now, mind you, Gary did say bull, so clearly not just Stephen, but probably mostly Stephen. But that's a pretty strong statement. He says these bulls have no sense of reality. Now, do I think it matters if legacy automakers go bankrupt or just get bailed out or just become smaller? Does them going bankrupt or not going bankrupt, does that somehow change how I invest in Tesla stock? For example, if none of the automakers really go bankrupt, but all of them get their sales cut by half, and Tesla eventually still ends up selling 10 million vehicles per year, 12 million, 15 million vehicles per year, and more? Does it matter if these legacy automakers go bankrupt? I don't think it really does. One of the biggest reasons why I became a multimillionaire at a young age is because I tend to spend a lot of time on things that actually move the needle and I completely ignore things that, yeah, maybe it's gonna make some impact on what I'm trying to achieve. Probably it will have some impact, but I just ignore these things and I just focus on the things that really will make a huge difference. And will anticipating exactly the number of automakers that will go bankrupt. Will that increase my Tesla stock returns? I don't think so. Unless I am trying to short some of these companies. But I don't short companies. I think that's silly because the stock market generally goes up, so even bad companies sometimes can increase their stock valuations, especially if there is large inflation at the same time too. So if you are trying to create extreme wealth or just wealth, shorting, I think, is one of the stupidest things you can do because there are just so many other better things to do. Unless you really like exposing dirty companies and you're that kind of person that really likes doing that, you're just wasting your time because you could be doing something that's a lot more productive. What does matter for Tesla is what Gary pointed out earlier, the next generation vehicle, the compact vehicle. That is actually really important. But that is still, I think, somewhat missing the bigger picture. Show me something that Elon has done for investors that has not worked out in the long term. He just keeps winning. On and on and on and on and on and on. There's a reason why people say, don't bet against Elon. And even if something does not work out, that just makes Elon more motivated, more focused, and it brings his best out of him. So even in a very unlikely case where Tesla really starts to struggle big time, as long as Elon is paying attention to Tesla, eventually I think it will really work out for investors. But you can't really put that in a spreadsheet, can you? And there's a pretty good response to Gary here. Oh boy, this one is going to age poorly. In your words, EV adoption is going to accelerate and Tesla will manufacture a $25,000 vehicle? So you're telling me that every single legacy OEM is going to be able to compete with a $25,000 EV? A Tesla $25,000 EV? No chance, he says. Now, if you look at the Chevy Bolt, the pricing starts at $26,500. So the legacy automakers, they can, some of them, produce cheap vehicles, cheap EVs. But Ford produced a Mach-E, and it's not really competing well with the Model Y. Why? Because the Model Y is just so much better. I test drove the Ford Mach-E, and then I sat in my Model 3 again, like... The way I can describe the difference is like sort of, you're using a phone and then you find your really old phone and you turn it on and then you're like, oh, this sucks. Maybe you're sort of excited due to sentimental reasons. It brings you back the memories, but it sucks. I mean, you used it before and it worked fine, but now you got this new better thing and it's just better. So it's not that Ford Mach-E is a terrible vehicle. I don't think it is. It's better than most gasoline vehicles. But Teslas are just better.